What does it mean to be disciplined? Is it waking up at 4 in the morning before the sun's even up? Is it doing an intense workout, running hundreds of miles and being someone like David Goggins?
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
Now this isn't wrong, but it's not entirely true. In this book, Discipline is Destiny, Ryan Holiday talks about what it truly means to be disciplined. Ryan is a New York Times best-selling author and the creator of the Daily Stoic. He's written several other best-selling books like Ego is the Enemy, Obstacle is the Way, Stillness is the Key, and many more. In here, he gives countless examples of people showing what it means to be disciplined. People as badass as Marcus Aurelius, but also people that you wouldn't expect, like Queen Elizabeth. So today I want to share with you everything that I learned from this amazing book and what it truly means to be disciplined. Before we begin, I just want to quickly introduce myself since you're probably new here. My name's Satya, and on this channel I talk about everything that I learn and do that's helping me become the best version of myself in all areas of my life. And as I share with you everything that I've learned, I don't want you to be under the impression that I'm the most disciplined person in the world, because I'm not. I'm still human, just like you, and I make plenty of mistakes. Now that that's out of the way, we can actually get into the video. There are 3 levels to discipline. Level 1 is taking control over our body. Level 2 is taking control over our mind. And level 3 is taking control over our soul. So let's talk about how we can take control over our bodies. Now, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to wake up earlier and attack the dawn. Yes, this one's very obvious, but why should we wake up earlier? Well, when we wake up early before everyone else, that's when we're able to have a clear mind. There's no noise and we can actually hear our thoughts. We're able to get shit done that's actually important to us, and we can do it with intense effort. And I already know what you're thinking. Oh, but I'm not a morning person. I can't wake up early. I used to tell myself that lie all of the time. But in reality, I just wasn't being disciplined with my sleep. It's crazy how if you go to bed earlier, you can wake up earlier. I know. It's crazy how that works. When you're trying to go to bed, get off of your phone. Be disciplined enough to put it down and just go to sleep. You need to be disciplined with your rest and your sleep so that you can live a strenuous life. Now, this one is also obvious. We need to be straining our bodies, not only so that we can look good and feel healthy, but more importantly, we're building up mental resilience. You need to be someone that's constantly seeking discomfort. Go run a marathon, go lift weights, take a cold shower, eat bland food. Because when you're someone that seeks discomfort, life becomes a hell of a lot easier. So the next step of taking control over our bodies is taking control over our cravings and desires. We can't be controlled by anything. Junk food, drugs, porn, but also materialistic items like new clothes, a new watch, a new car, whatever it might be. You should be okay with living a life that's frugal. Not that you should, but you should be okay with it. The less you desire, the richer you are, because when you have a desire, you're making a contract with yourself to be unhappy until you obtain it. The next thing is that we also want to make sure we have a clean environment. Clean up your desk, pick up the clothes off of the ground, clean up the dishes. When your environment's cluttered, your mind's gonna be cluttered as well. You need to have order in your life so that you can do your work with complete focus. It's the little things that matter, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. You can't expect yourself to be able to tackle big problems if you can't even tackle the small ones. There are devils in the details, so not only do you want to clean your environment, but you also want to clean yourself as well. Make sure you're properly groomed, you smell good. You're also dressing well. You're not overdressed, but you're not underdressed. When you present yourself well, you're going to feel different and feel better about yourself, and that's gonna bleed into other areas of your life. Also, people are gonna view and treat you differently. Pretty privilege is a thing. So now that we've started becoming disciplined with the small things, we need to become disciplined with the big things. We need to be disciplined with our work. We need to hustle and have a sense of urgency. We need to practice constantly on our craft and get better at it every single day. Yes, there are going to be days where you don't want to work, where you don't want to practice, but all that matters is that you show up and get something done. It could be as little as 2 minutes, but as long as you do something, it's going to start building up momentum and you're going to start doing more and more. Yes, we need to push past our limits and hustle and do the work, but you also need to make sure you're managing the work properly, that you take time to slow down and give yourself a break, because we're in this for the long run. Yes, again, there are times where we want to overstrain ourselves, but constantly doing that is not healthy. And slowly but surely, you're going to be able to endure more and more. You're going to be able to endure more of the fatigue, the soreness, the brain fog. Get used to your body feeling like shit and callous your mind, like David Goggins always says. Now that we've taken control over our bodies, we can move on to level 2, taking control over our minds. Now the first point is to make sure that we pause before everything and that we actually think. We're not reacting to things immediately, jumping to conclusions, reacting to impulses. We're actually pausing, taking a second to question. We have to learn how to not constantly associate with our thoughts and emotions. Not only that, but we also need to have priorities. We need to have a main goal in mind, and once we find that main goal, we need to start saying no to other things. You only start saying no to things when you have a big yes. The next thing we must do is get better at focusing, especially in the world we live in today, because things like TikTok and Instagram are completely ruining our attention spans. We need to learn how to stay present and stay focused and not have our minds wander. Whether that's something as serious as doing a big project or something as little as just having a conversation with a friend. And as we get better at focusing and staying in the present, we need to start respecting time more. Everyone knows that time is money and that it's the only non-replenishable resource. But also you need to respect it more, because someday you're gonna run out of time and be gone from this earth. And the more you remind yourself that one day you're gonna die, you're going to act with more urgency and you're going to do things that actually better your life instead of scrolling on social media all day. But not only do we want to respect time more, but we also need to learn how to be more patient. It can be something as small as not getting irritated while stuck in traffic. Or it could be something bigger, like trying to lose 100 pounds or whatever goal it is that you have. It's gonna take a long time to achieve your goal, and you need to learn how to delay the gratification and be patient. Not only do you want to learn how to be patient, but you also need to learn how to not be a perfectionist. This is another big thing that I'm trying to work on. I'm such a perfectionist. And it's good to have high standards, but you can't allow perfectionism to stop you from taking action. You can't be paralyzed by it and try to make things perfect, because nothing is perfect. You need to have the courage to say that you're done with whatever it might be. And the next thing that we want to do is that we want to do the hard thing first. When you do the hardest thing first thing in your day, everything else becomes easier. And the next point is to get back up. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. You can't allow the losses to get in your head. It's inevitable that you're going to lose, especially when you're doing something new. We might miss a workout, we might relapse on our diet, whatever it might be. You need to forgive yourself and get back after it. You can't let failure stop you, but you do need to learn from it. The next thing we have to do is win against the battle of pain. Make sure that whatever pain it is that you feel, whether that be emotional, mental, physical, you're actually sucking it up and you're not trying to cover it up. A temporary fix in the short term is just going to make it worse in the long term. Yes, it's going to be hard, but we have to face this pain head on so that it can eventually go away. Not only do we want to win against the battle of pain, but we need to win against the battle of pleasure. Like we said earlier, we can't be a slave to whatever habit it might be or our desires. But there's also going to be other pleasures that come up along the way that we need to avoid. I'm not saying that you can't indulge in pleasures every now and then. That's completely normal, but we can't overindulge in them. We discipline ourselves from pleasure so that we can truly enjoy all of life. So the next thing we need to do is learn how to tame our tongues. We were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, but over talking is just going to get you in more trouble. You're going to overshare and say things that you shouldn't have said. There's no need to constantly chime in and talk and give your opinions about everything. and it's especially hard not to in a world of social media where everyone's constantly giving their opinions on things. You're also going to learn more when you listen instead of talk. And the next thing is that we have to have control over our emotions at all times, especially big swings of emotions. We can't let things like anger, lust, ego, envy cloud our minds. I'm not saying that you can't feel whatever emotion it is. You're supposed to feel them, but you need to learn how to not associate your actions with your emotions. And a big emotion that we also need to control is our ambition. Unlike drugs, society rewards ambition, but over-ambition can be a bad thing because it can cause you to do morally wrong things. You shouldn't be someone that's constantly chasing worldly things like money. And we also need to learn how to be disciplined with our money. Money is a tool, but it can also be a dangerous tool. You can't be too cheap, but you also can't be too careless with it. You have to have a balance. Money gives you freedom and it just simply reveals who you are. Money isn't gonna buy you happiness, and you need to understand that. But money is super, super important. When you don't have money, all you care about is money. But when you do have money, you don't really care about it that much. So yes, go after money, but use it wisely, and you can't allow the desire for money to completely cloud you. And the last point is to do your best and just focus on getting better every single day. Don't compare yourself to anyone else besides who you were yesterday. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but all that truly matters is that you gave it your all. But you should never be content with the progress and achievements that you've made. You should always seek out more. Now it's on to level 3, taking control over our soul. Now the first thing that we need to do is that we need to become tolerant with others, yet strict with ourselves. And this is something Marcus Aurelius would say a lot to himself. You need to understand that not everyone is gonna have as high of standards for themselves as you do. It can be extremely toxic if you expect everyone to be perfect. You need to be compassionate and understanding towards others and forgiving them for their mistakes. But this brings me to my next point. You want to make others better by not forcing them, but setting an example. Just like all other emotions, discipline can be contagious. Set an example of what it means to be disciplined, but more importantly, what it means to be a good human being. You want to be someone that's positive and doesn't give in to the negative emotions. Don't give in to the hate, the anger, the criticism. Be seen as someone that's joyful and that constantly has a smile on their face. Someone that can see the light no matter how dark it might get. But in order for you to become this person, you have to first be kind to yourself. You can't have negative self-talk towards yourself. Words are powerful. Analyze how you talk to yourself. You shouldn't constantly be saying things like, oh, I'm dumb, or I'm fat, or I'll never get this. And more importantly, forgive yourself for the mistakes that you make. Yes, it's good to have high standards, but you must remember to forgive yourself. Talk to yourself as if you were going to talk to a best friend. Most people talk to themselves as if they're their worst enemy. But the next point is to carry the load for others. Now, this means that you're not supposed to be a boss, you're supposed to be a leader. There's a big difference. Leaders are self-sacrificing, they're selfless, and they put others in front of them. There's a price to pay being a leader. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. And as a leader, you also don't want to be selfish with your power. Because you're a good human being, you want to share your power with others so you can give others opportunities in life. And the next thing that you want to do to become a better human being is that you must learn how to turn the other cheek away from immorally wrong things. But also, you're not fighting anger with anger, you're fighting anger with compassion. Fighting anger with anger is never gonna solve anything. It takes discipline to fight people with compassion and not reacting to those negative emotions that you might feel. And another thing you must do is learn how to accept defeat and understand when to make an exit. Yes, you need to push past your limits, but you can't be fueled by your ego and ignore the loss. There's a huge difference between being brave versus reckless. Accept the defeat, learn from it, and then move on. And the next thing you must do is endure the unendurable. Life, it's gonna be hard. No one said that it was easy. You're going to be drained physically, you're going to be drained mentally, and you're also going to be drained spiritually. But no matter what happens to you, if you get betrayed, you get your heart broken, whatever it might be, you can't allow it to completely destroy you. You have to push through it and endure it, because one day you're gonna look back at it and be glad that you went through it. You can't leave the world just yet without giving it your all. And when you gain success, you can't be changed by it. You can't be fueled by your ego. You need to have it under control. Just because you had success doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. All that truly matters is that you're a good human being. When you die, you want to make sure that people aren't talking about your accomplishments, but they're talking about how good of a human being you were. And the next point, you need to be your best. Yes, it's good that you want to be the best, but more importantly, you need to be your best. And in order to be the best, you must conquer yourself first. Conquering the world becomes way easier once you first conquer yourself. But being great is more than just accomplishments. It's about having virtue and being someone that's honorable. And part of being the best is you must learn how to be flexible. You need to be formless like water, like Bruce Lee said. The only constant in life is change. So you need to be someone that can easily adapt to this change. So that is all to level 3. Now, just because you watched a video on discipline doesn't mean you're going to suddenly be more disciplined. Discipline, just like a muscle, needs to be built and will get stronger over time. But now you actually understand how you can be disciplined, because clearly it's more than just working out hard. But I really hope that you gained value from this video, and if you want to see more of me, just click right over here. So that is all from me, and remember to always stay curious and aware. Peace.